Hey y'all, welcome to Other Realm Studio. I'm Paula and this is part of the editing that I've been doing. Actually, I'm writing a whole other beginning to the first two chapters. And I don't know, I think it'll work out. So let's shrink these down a little. So I know what I need to be doing for the editing. I don't actually have a plan for the art, but writing does not make good TV, or whatever it is you're watching this on. So I'm going to get myself situated and figure out something. The chat is ready to display messages. I'm streaming simultaneously on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. So if you chat in any of those, post any comments, it'll show up right here. So that's good. Let me put this up here on my upper screen. And I can shrink this one down because I had this up. Topic suggestions. So there were a couple of things that I could do. I've noticed that U-printing has a good deal on labels, which would make good like book plates if you want to write your names in your book. So I thought about possibly designing one of those. And I also just got an email from Zazzle.com, which is where I have some of my products set up on my shop's called Abstract Realm instead of Other Realm. And they're having a contest going on for designing a themed wedding items. So I'm not really sure what I should be working on. So if you have any suggestions for me, I'm happy to hear them. And if not, I'll come up with something. So my program that I'm using here is Clip Studio Paint EX. It used to be the Manga Studio series, but now it's called Clip Studio Paint. And I have the EX version, which also has the animation, which I'm really awful at still. Eventually, I guess I'll start doing these live streams with me practicing animation. I don't know. I have so much that I need to practice, really. So I'm just going to start off with a warm-up sketch. Okay, so the trouble with warm-up sketches is while I'm working out what to do next, it's a lot like detail work in that I can't really keep up speaking through the whole thing. So I know I do need to look up some background music. Well, that's interesting. Why did this skip over here? So I did not do that. Well, that's not good at all, is it? For a second, I completely lost my touch sensitivity on this thing. Let's see. I'm using the Wacom tablet. I went ahead and got the medium one. It is the Wacom Intuos. And yeah, their product name is letters and numbers after it. So I don't really know exactly what my make and model is. It's just not it's not something that's easy to memorize. Let's see. I think that if I change my basic shapes here a little bit more. So if I make him more like a square. Yeah, so if I do a lot of geometric shapes on the guy here, and I stick with what I'm really good at, my flowy, curvy lines, on her, I think I'll be able to get two distinct personalities going on here. So I really haven't done a whole lot of actual cartooning. I do some realistic work, and I do a lot of painting stuff. I can do portraits. And any kind of animal, really. And I've done some botanical stuff too. I'm not, great at it, but it's kind of nitpicky. Let's see. Ankles, you know, they take a lot of thought. There we go. Yeah, something went wonky here. So one thing since I started doing the art stream, I've gotten really good at drawing without references, but yeah, sometimes you still kind of need them. Let's see, I think I've got this arch a little high actually. I don't know if it's that the base is too thick as well. Okay. I think I'm going to really have an easier time on her. Okay, let's see. Actually, I think I had this a second ago. So let's see. My other projects I'm just about done with. The only thing that I really need to do is finish the formatting and uploading. So that would be mainly the field guide to the other realm, which is a fun little sketchbook that I think I'm about done with all the sketches that are going to go in it, unless I come up with a few extra bonus ideas. And that goes with the world of my comic, Soulbound, which issue 1 is at the printer. In fact, it may well be on its way from the printer to where it needs to go to be repackaged and shipped down here. So what I did with my printing was an interesting sort of thing. I had been looking at different ways to print. Lots of different printing companies. There were a few that I liked. Their operating philosophy, the way that they work, their work ethic and stuff. I mean, I appreciate that kind of thing, but they were still really expensive. And that was for mostly print-on-demand type comics. And you have to pay a lot for each comic that way. You don't get like a bulk discount because it's print on demand. But I would still need to buy about a couple hundred, I would think, to be able to have enough to take to Comic Cons. So it would be really expensive to buy my own comic. It would be expensive to expect other people to buy my comic. And I really don't know what to expect as a beginning creator. Let's see, I like the first angle I had on this elbow, but I just don't know if it's realistic. I mean, with the foreshortening, maybe. Yeah, this is how you can tell I am doing all my posing on the spot. Because I'm changing my mind mid-pose here a lot. Yeah, back to the printing thing. So, my comic, if I had decided to go with print on demand, my comic would have been really expensive, and even I wouldn't have been able to afford my own print run. Oh, that wouldn't work at all, would it? So, there we go, forearms, that's nice. The other means of printing, printing in bulk, that gives you a better price per comic, but it's really expensive to print in enough bulk. And then that's when I found out that Peter Samedi of Alterna Comics is having his single issues printed on newsprint, and he was getting such a good deal on that he's able to price his comics at $1.50. Now, that's just fantastic. Nobody's pricing their comics at $1.50. And then he started up the printer partnership program, which means that while he's running his prints for his copies, he will take on a few other comics and have them done on the same print run, so you can get as few as 500 made. Hang on, this is tiny little work here. I should probably zoom in on it. But the zooming in on the mouse does not work very well. I don't know why. So instead I'm like leaning forward until the screen's in my eyeball. Or thereabouts. So anyway, I was pretty excited about this program. I was just going to try and look up how to get like a local newsprint printer. But it takes so long for people to get back with me, and then they do, and they think I mean something completely different, and it's just really confusing for them, and yeah. So I was really glad when he came out with the program, so that I don't have to work that out. It would have been nice to go with somebody local, but we don't always get what we want. Too bad for the local businesses that they don't know what a comic book is, I guess. So, let me see. Still doing little tiny work here. Kids are hard to draw. They just are. No, proportions are off. They are terribly cute to draw. Let's see. Gotta remember how we do folds on clothing. Break across the front of the ankle. Gotta have some drape. And creases at the knee. So yeah, long story short, having my comic printed through Alterna Comics printer partnership program, I'm really happy with it. So far, I haven't gotten my comics yet, but they're on the same print run as Alterna's own comics, so I know that Peter's going to be keeping an eye on them. And mine will be ready when his are. So it's all going to work out soon. I'm going to have mine shortly. And then I will finally get to ship them all out to everyone who ordered during the Kickstarter. And I'll also have a few extra copies. You can pre-order those directly from my website at www.otherrealmstudio.com. Let's see. So it's about a pragmatic young med student who falls through a portal to another world of monsters, myth, and magic, and she has to bring healing to this world between the nations that are at war there. In order for her to return home before her own time runs out. Because, you know, if it was easy to go to another dimension and survive there, then everybody would do it, right? So she's got a little bit of a ticking clock situation where back out of that for a bit. Ticking clock situation where if she doesn't return home, then her, you know, to our world, then her soul will attempt to return without her, which is not good. Yeah, that's a much better shape. But fortunately, when she arrives, she's not alone. Unfortunately, when she arrives, she's in a lot more trouble than she started off. So the first issue is complete, and all I'm waiting on is my print copies. And the second issue, I have the script written out for. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it turned out pretty well. I just need to round up some good feedback on it and earn out just a little bit more so that I can hire my artist back. So I had hired Mia Pierce of Mia Pet Illustrations. She's really good. She communicates. She does excellent work, and you know, her line art is, you know, very flowing and smooth and gorgeous. And you know, as you can see here, my line art is it's a little sketchy. So I'm really excited to have her coming back on the project. You know, as soon as I get to save up enough so that I can afford to hire her back. Because I just really cannot bring myself to ask an artist to, or anyone really, to do something for me that I can't afford to pay them to do. It's not right. So that's one of my key values. If somebody does good work, then they should be paid for it. That's it. That's the end of the story. So yeah, I see I've got his proportions just a little bit off right here. Do I fix that now? Or do I just keep going? Really, this is just a warm-up sketch. And for some reason I'm drawing it in dark green, so hello on YouTube. I'm not sure I can pronounce your name. I can't see from here. Dido MC? No, that's not a C. I don't... I'm having a decent time. How are you doing? So I'm just in here well, waiting on my comic to be printed and shipped out to me, and yeah, it's getting pretty dark out here too. Waiting on my comic and trying to figure out what am I going to do next with my life. I've about finished all my projects. Thank you. Yeah, I had no idea what I was drawing when I got started, so I am surprised it's coming together as well as it is. I think she should be neatened up just a bit here. So I started off trying for a more cartoony look, and now I can't make myself stick with it. I'm doing something else. I don't know what yet. Let me see. I like that a bit better. Oh yeah, eventually I gotta do some background music. I gotta learn that next. I mean, I have a lot of stuff to learn, but I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of aggravating to watch a stream and it's all just watching the learning process. So, I mean, I would like to have a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing. And everybody here needs a shadow. They're not vampires, I don't think. So yeah, a little bit more of an idea of what I'm doing before I get back into trying to do animation or the motion artist program, which was interesting and also maddening when I used that a few months ago for my Kickstarter video. No, I'm also on Facebook Live and on Twitch. So I have, let's see, I started off on Twitch. And, it seemed pretty easy to figure out. And then I started using Restream.io to do simultaneous casting to Facebook Live and YouTube, because I had the YouTube channel just sort of sitting there. Yeah. And all my family's on YouTube. So my in-laws are interested. And some of my family that I don't get to see very often, they stop by. Yeah, well, everybody's on Facebook. And for some reason, asking them to go check out my YouTube channel, nobody ever actually goes to do that, but everybody's always checking Facebook. So I actually see where my family's come up on Facebook and has actually watched my art stream occasionally. So that's funny. It's just because your family's like your hardest audience to get. You'll get a lot more strangers than you'll get family when you're doing any kind of streaming or a newsletter or anything like that. I I don't know why it is. So, yeah, I think I got his proportions are way off. We'll just ignore that. We will pretend everything is fine and continue adding details. So I can't stay on much longer. I gotta sign off at 10. I have the rest of my stuff to deal with, and then I need sleep. I'm desperate for sleep lately. So I have brought in some kittens and a mother cat, and they're now my roommates. They're hanging out in my bathroom because there's a fox or something outside. For a while I was thinking coyote, but now I'm thinking it's a fox. I've only ever caught the briefest glimpse of the thing, so it just made me concerned that there was a mama cat and kittens outside. So I rounded them up and caught them, and they've been hanging out in my bathroom for a few weeks. And they have gotten to where they meow a lot. So I'm not getting any sleep now. So, yeah, the longer we go on, the tireder I'm going to get. So I let the mama cat out today for a couple hours. Well, it turned into more than a couple hours, and I started to think, well, she figures she's done. She's going to leave me to raise them the rest of the way. But fortunately, she came back, so that's good. But she was used to being an outside cat. So, yeah, in about 5 more minutes I need to sign off of here. But I'm glad you stopped by. I appreciate it. Do my generic little evergreens in the background. Okay, so yeah, it's a sketch, and it's a little bit of it's kind of wonky in spots, but I have nicer work, you know. Let's see. I recently finished this piece. This was my last one, and I'm open for commissions. Mostly I do science fiction and fantasy. And you can find my work at www.otherrealmstudio.com. I also have a newsletter. Let's see. I also have a comic coming out soon. You can pre-order that on my shop page. Yeah, just check out otherrealmstudio.com. And oh yes, and I do the live streams Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday nights from 9 to 10. Yeah, pretty much every night. Yeah, I take off Wednesdays and weekends, but I've been pretty consistent for a while. I'm very proud of myself. Let's see. There's Puppy. So, oh goodness, what else is in the pipeline? Come on. I had something else. What was it? I'm also going to have a superhero novel coming out soon from Silver Empire Press. I'm really excited for it. I've been working on the edits for that today. I've written 2 new chapter beginnings. So I'm going to also have some details about that in my newsletter eventually when I remember to actually send it out. My word processor's been crashing a little bit lately, so I'm horribly distracted. But yeah, if you have a minute, stop by otherrealmstudio.com. Sign up for my newsletter. If you need any art commissioned, I have a button for that too on the site. And thank you for stopping by. I gotta go. Finish getting my family put to bed. But I'll see you in the other realm. Good night.